Hello, and welcome to this episode of Life from the Inside Out with Kris. If you're loving this metaphysical content, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and press the bell so you get notifications when Kris releases cool new metaphysical content. And also, feel free, put comments down below. This will help perhaps drive the discussion. And we look forward to hearing from you. Let's go ahead and begin. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Life from the Inside Out with Kris. And today we have a very special episode. We've got a number of friends and panelists joining us today, and we're all going to be interacting with Kris. And first, let's just say hi to our friend Serge Grandbois.
Hey Dan, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm super excited for today's episode. We've got a lot of good friends and folks with us today.
Yes, it's nice to see everyone, even
Yeah.
if it's just a name up there.
Yeah, it's good to be with the group. I'm excited. So,
Mm.
would everybody just want to say, just introduce yourselves, and so we know who's all with us today? Bev, go.
Hi, my name's Beverly, and it's fun to be on these calls.
Rogel,
Next.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Rogel or Roger, and I'm very happy to be here. I really enjoy these showings.
Lisa?
Hi, my name's Lisa. I've been, I guess, a student of Kris for, I think, almost 20 years now.
My
It's been
God.
really, yeah, I know, a long time, right? But there's a reason for that, and it's because it really, Kris has been an amazing teacher and mentor, and Serge has been an exceptional channel. And so I'm really honored and happy that I'm able to participate in this.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Ellen?
Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm also a longtime student and friend of Serge and Kris's, and really looking forward to this new experiment we're doing tonight.
Yeah, I think you as well. It's at least 20 years.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yep.
When was the last session in Toronto, the live session?
Oh,
That's when
I
I
don't
joined.
remember now. Yeah, I don't remember now.
Oh,
Was it 2017? That's when we had the group at the
yeah,
Ramada Inn.
I think it's been about 6 years. Something like
Yeah.
So that's when I joined. Just before that, I became one of the students.
And Barbara, no mic.
So happy to be back.
Barbara.
How's that? Better?
Mhm.
How's my sound? Good. Yes, with Kris and Serge since 2006, also a long time. And I'm so grateful I can still continue.
and Alexandra.
Hello, I'm in Portugal, and I discovered Kris a few years ago through a program that was online, and then I had a personal session with him, and it was so amazing. And ever since, I've been trying to find, online more opportunities to get in touch. So tonight, when I got the email, I was really happy. And here it's like almost 1 in the morning, so it's time for me to be sleeping, as I've got to get, up very early. But I've made it a point that it's an opportunity not to miss. So thank you so much. And I'm new, right? So I'm like listening to all of you. I must be the one that has been less in touch with, with Kris, and I'm really looking forward to expand, my opportunities. Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here with us. And what do you say we bring Kris in and see what he has to say for this episode?
Sounds good.
Like a good idea. And you can hear me all right, huh?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now we trust that you are all comfortable, and we thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, Kris, and welcome back to Inside Out, Life from the Inside Out.
Indeed. And that is exactly where life begins. And interestingly enough, does not necessarily end. Though from your physical perspective, there seems to be a discontinuation or a disconnect from your adventures with life. But this is simply that you are not necessarily in touch with or in tune with the realities that exist beyond your physical senses, beyond physical reality. And that presents a very, very interesting set of opportunities, much more than you would ever have thought possible. Because you do, on the one hand, spend approximately 1/3 of your lives sleeping, as it were. And yet, during that particular period of time, whether it be 6, 7, 8 hours or so, you actually do most likely much more than you physically can. In fact, there are some things that you do in dream states that are simply impossible to do in the waking state. It is not the other way around. Everything you do in the waking state can also be done in the sleeping state. But many things you do in the sleeping state cannot be done or reproduced in the waking state. And by paying a little more attention to some of the activities you engage in whilst your physical body is so nicely duveted up and pillowed up, you engage in adventures that are very fascinating, most of which you seem to forget unless you begin to pay more and more attention. And in fact, paying more attention also has a huge payoff in the physical state. In your waking hours, paying attention also brings you an enormous investment, an enormous payoff, if you like, because you invest so much time and energy. Let us ask you these two little questions. Do you like stories, storytelling? Do you like that?
Yes.
Yes.
I know I do.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, which one of you has ever used or even thought of using a daily planner?
Thought of it.
I do.
Yep.
Most often for business purposes, sometimes for personal purposes.
I
So
just mark
these
my calendar.
sound like rather benign and perhaps even unrelated questions. But did you know that in terms of reality creation, you actually use a daily planner all the time? You engage in storytelling all the time. And you might be unaware that you actually do this. And by becoming more aware of these extraordinary, literally technologies that are hardwired into your system, not just in terms of your neurology, but in terms of your psyche. And it works on an extremely simple platform, but make no mistake about it, it is extraordinarily complex. So people in the waking state for business or private purposes write in a daily planner. That is the externalization of the other daily planner that you use all the time, non-stop. Storytelling. Everyone likes stories. In fact, your very species would certainly not be where and what it is without storytelling. But take it another step. You tell stories through your lives. The stories that you create here become engaged, physicalized in the kinds of activities that seem to fill your days. So that is how you take notions or ideas or beliefs or expectations, and you literally drag them into physicality. You make them manifest. So if you, for instance, before jumping right out of bed and kickstarting the day any old way, take a moment or two to just lay there and train your mind to do this very, very simple little thing. Just engage your mental daily planner. All the nice experiences you wish to encounter during the day. Experiences of appreciation, of grace, of unparalleled sweetness to yourself and others. Little events and circumstances that not only make you smile, but make you radiate. In fact, take you into the realm of extraordinary, being extraordinary. That few minutes, that little experience before you jump out of bed and run to get your day going will have a very, very strong impact. And the more you practice this, the more it becomes easier for you to recognize that what you sow, the seeds of events and activities that you sow in your mind's eye, to start encountering them. So it is a very small practice, just a few moments before you fully wake up, lying in that delightful hypnagogic state, not fully awake, not fully asleep, can have then a tremendous impact. Because this is also where you tell stories. So you plan your days with stories. Today I'm going to have a terrible day at the office because the boss is going to tell me this and that, and it's going to ruin my day, and then I have to do this thing and that other thing. And before you know it, you have just smashed the pedal to the metal into that very kind of day. Does that make some sense to you?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, Kris, you
Setting the tone.
used the words with me once. Priming the pump seem appropriate there.
Indeed. So if you want a nicer experience on the day-to-day, then you must begin somewhere. And these few moments before you actually jump out of bed not only will have an impact, but the more you practice it, the more you can actually take it with you as you begin your day, that you're focusing on this, literally making it a kind of meditation. A beautiful state that allows your inner self, inner experiences to flow very naturally and organically into the world of physical events. Because that is where you encounter your daily plans and your inner storytelling. You encounter it in the world of physicality. This world of physicality actually is a beautiful extension of the world of Dreamtime, where you also have extraordinary experiences, no longer bound by, for instance, the laws of physics in your physical world. Dreamtime is a place where you can basically give the finger to the laws of physics. You can express yourselves in incredible ways. Notice when you want to go somewhere in your dream state. Do you have to get a passport? Do you have to buy plane tickets? Do you have to stand in line with the security checks hours and hours on end? Indeed not. In the snap of your fingers, you may go from Toronto to Timbuktu, even faster than batting an eyelid. You may also experience time dilations, which you cannot experience in physicality. Though there are certain experiences that sometimes make you question what just happened. But in Dreamtime, time dilation is actually a nightly occurrence. You may, for instance, think you have been sleeping and dreaming for moments, only to realize that several hours of physical time has gone by, and vice versa. So the physics of Dreamtime are quite different. You may also recognize there are times when you do not necessarily have to go down the hallway into another room when you want to go into another room. You can just slowly phase through the walls themselves, or the ceiling, or the floor. Or you may even phase yourself through the roof and recognize that you are floating above the rooftops, above the treetops, above the city, and perhaps even high into the clouds and well beyond, because there are different kinds of laws of physics. And the laws of physics, both in physical waking reality and in Dreamtime, are of course not governed by science in that sense. They are governed by your internal mechanisms. That internal mechanism is actually fascinating beyond compare. Not only is physical reality your creation, your experiences, not only is Dreamtime your creation, your experience, but there is a particular baseline, a template of sorts that all beings, all life forms have access to, that literally enables them to create their realities of choice. Even though your reality is entirely your own and sometimes shared with others, but it is still your own. But there is this psychic template that basically enables you to just utilize your feelings, your imagination, your emotions, all tied into your beliefs, to create your daily experiences, both waking and sleeping. And if you did not necessarily notice that you have to go to bed and fall asleep, you might not necessarily be able to distinguish between physical experiences and dream experiences, because they are continuations, one of the other. And it is not just that one creates the other, but they are continuations. So you have incredible opportunities to understand this science of reality creation not in terms of books like The Secret, because this barely scratches the surface, and it only addresses a few little issues, many of which end up being more problematic than others. But this very basic template of reality creation is an actual science practiced by essence. So, in effect, your sources are scientists. You are scientists into the manipulation of consciousness itself. So when someone says, it's not rocket science after all, you can say, oh, but it is. Now, you have some observations or inquiries along those lines?
Well, Kris, the thing I'm finding interesting about what you just said is, and this is an evolving paradigm as well, that what we're really doing is experimenting with our own experience, which I think is different at maybe how a more traditional scientific worldview would look at.
Your physical sciences, whatever they are labeled in your world, are actually extensions of the studies that you yourselves make utilizing those particular technologies of consciousness, feelings, emotions, imagination, beliefs, ideas, notions, whatever you want to label them. You use those. You also utilize science in your world to try and understand how these things affect consciousness. But for the present moment, your sciences, for the most part, do not yet recognize that consciousness is a thing that exists first and not the other way around. Consciousness is not the result of neurological activity. In fact, neurological activity is the result of conscious presence of the self that gives your physical form the energy it needs to function. So you are the battery pack that motivates your physical form. Does that make some sense?
Yes, and I think the title of the series gives us a little clue. I was thinking of science kind of looking at things from the outside in, but really what you're encouraging us to look at things from this perspective of the inside out. I think that's the switch I was trying to express earlier.
Indeed. And we are certainly not putting down any of the physical sciences in your world. That too is fascinating, examining the nitty-gritty. But you will not find the self or the soul anywhere in any physical form, because it is not perceivable. 2, instrumentation. But it is perceivable through something that even your sciences are certainly not happy about, and that is called your intuitions. And an interesting observation along those lines is something that does puzzle your scientists, your medical professionals, your researchers, and that is those darned placebo effects. That is a real thorn in the side of most medical sciences. We did not give you the real medicine and you got better. How did you do that? Explain it to us. But they cannot understand it. But they also cannot refute it. So they are caught in a dilemma. Because in their mind, the drugs, the medication, the this and the that is what should have made you better. And it may, to a certain degree. But then how can someone who was given a placebo also have cured themselves in the first place? it presents a most interesting state of discussion. If your scientists and researchers would study that a little more, they might recognize something about reality that would defy their understanding. And that reality is lived from the inside out. It is not the drug or medicine that cured someone in that circumstance, but the other way around. It is the individual who did it. So in some ways, your researchers might go, how dare you make us look bad? Shame on you for making us look like fools when we did not give you any medicine and somehow or other you went ahead and got better? Please explain. Does that make some sense to you?
Yeah, I follow you. Mm-hmm. And Kris, I think we're getting close perhaps to a breaking point. So any final thoughts before we move on?
We can take a break now. Indeed, then. We will see you in a few moments.
Thank you, Kris.
Thanks, Kris.
Thank you, Kris.